Wherever you are in the world, welcome to another edition of Jerry's Take on China. So China and the Philippines have a dispute over a reef, and there's a wreck on the reef that the Philippines want to fortify, and China says they can't. The reef is in a region they claim is their own, but here's the problem. First of all, the reef is within 200 nautical miles of both China and the Philippines, so both might have a legal claim to it. To be exact, it's actually situated at 0.9 degrees 44 inches north, 115 degrees 52 inches east. But there are even more complicating factors. One is that, according to the Permanent Court of Arbitration, the second Thomas Shoal, which is where this wreck has been located, is not entitled to be a territorial sea zone or part of an economic exclusion zone. There are reasons for that. In other words, it doesn't belong to either country. And the best way to sort it out, or sort out what to do with it, would be to discuss it between government departments, which is exactly what China and the Philippines have been doing for many years. There's another confusion related to the entire affair, and that is that the first, second, and third shoals, which are known as the Thomas Shoal, were so named after a British captain, Thomas Gilbert. He was captain of the HMS Charlotte, and this was a ship that, after dropping convicts off in Botany Bay, including the now very famous Mary Bryant, spent time working the Canton-London route. So we can see the confusion here. A shoal or a reef that's named after a British captain travelling in and out of Canton might be a very good cause for China to say, we have some historical claim on this land, if indeed we could call it land, because the shoal and the reef are submerged at high tide, and this is why it can't be claimed by one nation as exclusive territory. Having said that, if you're watching media reports, as I am, we're seeing tales of Chinese aggression and poor little Philippine ships being bullied by them. What caused the problems? And what can be done about it? First of all, the real problem started in 1991 when a Second World War landing craft was deliberately run aground onto the reef so that the Philippines could lay claim to it and say that this part of the reef is above water. That didn't stand up in the Permanent Court of Arbitration, nor did it comply with any laws under the United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea. That's something we know as UNCLOS, which the United States has not signed up for. This was just the Philippines acting irresponsibly. It would have been far better to have discussed what should have been done. But here's the thing. China has asked only one thing of the Philippines. And despite what you're reading in Western media about how China is the aggressor here, they are not. They've asked one thing and only one thing. They want the Philippines to remove this deliberately crashed wreck so the reef can be restored to its natural state. And what's so wrong with that? Actually, there's nothing wrong with that. And the Philippines have, in fact, several times agreed to do so. Unfortunately, the USA doesn't want them to. Now, why would the USA, which has no reason to be in this region other than as a threat, want the Philippines to have this dispute with China? In my opinion, there can be only one reason. The USA is looking for an excuse. It's attempting to create the environment and is manufacturing the consent for its war in this region. The Philippines and China are not at war. They may have some disputes. They may have some neighborly disagreements. That happens. But they are large trading partners of each other and their neighbors who can help each other. In fact, that's exactly what is happening right now. Severino S. Rodolfo is not a well-known name, but he is the Filipino Undersecretary for Trade and Industry. And he's been in Shenzhen today and yesterday talking up trade between the two neighbors. He also talks about increasing technology development, and in a speech yesterday announced that China is seen by the Philippines as a pillar of their export development. Nickel, copper and cobalt are being exported in increasing amounts from the Philippines into China. And China is doing what the US, Spain, or any other colonial power in the region has failed to do. China is sending investment and technology into the Philippines so that instead of exploiting the resources of its neighbor, the Philippines will be able to add value to their resources and export products needed in the battery industry in China. These kind of initiatives don't exist where there are pending wars or where there are insurmountable disputes between two parties or two countries. In fact, on his visit to China, Ferdinand Marcos Jr. clearly stated he wished to handle the South China Sea disputes in a, his words, friendly manner, while he was signing bilateral trade agreements. The future of trade, the future of stability of the region, and the future of prosperity of the Philippines does not rest with ensuring US-encouraged arguments continue. It rests with them working with China, not against China. And clearly they know this. Unfortunately, US media machine needs its headlines and will continue to scream about a minor dispute rather than tell the truth about a relationship that exists between two countries that happen to share some bordering islands. That's all for now. Thanks very much for watching Jerry's Take on China, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.